Let's have a conversation about how women can be predators against young boys. And I believe I've touched on this before, but I have a commenter here who says, also be aware that women too are predators. I had a male friend recall to me that when he was 13, his mother moved in her struggling female friend. He was a few years older than his siblings and would get out of school before them and before his mom got off work. The time spent alone with this woman was occupied with her teaching him how to do things to her. His mother still doesn't know to this day. Heartbreak. So yeah, I think I had something similar to this where I talked about how a lot of men are sexually abused, and trigger warning, by the way, sexually abused as young boys, and a lot of them have sexual experiences that are forced onto them, and some of the ones I talked about, and I believe this post was like a few weeks ago, may have been a month or so ago, but anyhow, one of the experiences I talked about were how family members would procure, sex workers and things like that to teach their boy how to be a man. But this is also another instance of a young boy, a familiar story of a man as a young boy who was sexually assaulted by his mother's friends. And I used to have a hairdresser way back when that often shared stories like this, and also male colleagues. So this is a common story that I've heard a lot of men share over the years, where they talked about how their mother's friends would come over and want to teach them things or get them in private. I've heard men talk about it, talk about how they were as young as 8 years old, losing their virginity to a much older woman, like 35 or something like that, and her being extremely turned on. So this is not okay. It is sexual abuse, assault. But unfortunately, it is a very common narrative that many young boys faced at the hands of women. And if it's not their mother's friends, it's their babysitter or their older sister's friends, or a cousin or somebody like that that's in close proximity. And a lot of them are usually, as mentioned in this story, they're usually home alone, or there's not a lot of people around due to them having responsibilities at the home or something of that nature. So getting home early and having it clean, or being a latchkey kid, or being home by themselves while their mothers are at work for long periods of time. So there's all of these different things that happen. But again, this is a very common narrative for young boys. Thank you for bringing this. And this is just a gentle reminder about how to keep a watchful eye on your young sons, and your children in particular, but your young sons as well, because, again, older women will seek them out when they know that they're vulnerable, when no one is watching, or when they know that they have access to them. And unfortunately, it sounds like someone took advantage of his mother's kind-heartedness. But it's also another reason why, you can't help people sometimes and give them access to your most prized possession, which is your children, because unfortunately they will take advantage of that and misuse your kind-heartedness. So I hope this helps. Thanks so much for sharing this.